Hey everyone, Duke Nougat 3D here again to show you another item from my collection. And today we have the 3M7800S full face respirator. The 3M7800S was introduced in the, I believe, early 1990s as a competitor to MSA's UltraView and Ultra Elite flagship protective masks, or full face respirators, being that this is the industrial field. It was primarily designed for the industry, however, it can be easily adaptable to law enforcement and other first responder needs. The 7800, its initial design, was made out of a black, I assume natural latex rubber, or some other natural rubber blend, but this variant is extremely uncommon to find, but not too expensive when found, as they are typically surplused. But the most common variants to find of the 7800S series is the 7800 series is the 7800S, which is made out of a strange plasticized silicone. It is not full-on silicone, but it seems to have some sort of plastic filler additive to it to make it more resistant to certain types of chemical agents, perhaps blister agents, but I highly doubt that, being that this is, in fact, a industrial mask. There also is a 7800B, which has a facepiece of butyl rubber and are easily identified by their lack of a central filter plug. Typically, the 7800S continues production today and are easily found on the not so much surplus market, but I guess the business and industrial market. However, these masks and their parts are typically sold through third-party retailers, and so prices will be very expensive, and you'll be lucky to get one of these for between $50 and $90. I had to pay around $100 for my example, unfortunately, but it is a complete set, and it is one of my more favorite masks in my collection, just short of my M3 10A16 and so on. I absolutely love its design. Now, it seems like it would be a very comfortable mask, seeing that it is very modern and, very innovative in its design features. However, I find that the plasticized silicone is not the most comfy to wear. It feels more like wearing a pool toy, in my opinion, to a degree. And the size large that I have here tends to feel more like a size small due to the size of the nose cup. The nose cups are rather small on these, but we'll get into that in a minute. Why don't we start off with the accessories and everything? So, as always, beginning with the carrier, nothing special. It's just a plastic bag with some cotton drawstring. These were never issued their own proprietary carriers, being that they are an industrial mask, and they would be stored in a metal cabinet or locker of some sort until they were ready to be used or when they were needed. It comes with all sorts of data sheets, instructions, things of that nature, parts lists. Here's the label for that comes on the lens when the mask is issued. There's just typical instructions on how to care for the lens on that, and warnings and so on. Here we can see the tabs that were originally on the mask. These are the buckle tabs for securing the buckles to the mask. I went ahead and replaced them with Israeli black ones just as an aesthetic preference. The green ones signify that it is a size large, where the yellow ones signify a size medium, and the red signify a size small. It also came with some harness, or not harness tabs, a couple D-rings, sort of, for, I assume, for a neck strap of some form, but I don't have one, and basically they were kind of getting in the way, so they are easily removed. So another thing I just took off for personal aesthetic reasons. And the most interesting thing about this mask are its very unique 40mm to bayonet filter adapters. Now, I'm not sure if any other masks did this prior to the 7800 series, but what these basically are is they screw into the mask itself, the 40mm inlet, and that allows you to install bayonet-type industrial lock-on filters like you would normally see with a typical paint respirator or things like that onto the mask. Very neat feature, and these do work on other NATO 40mm masks as well, which is kind of interesting and humorous in a way. Now let's get down to the mask. As I said, made out of a very not really stiff, but stiffer than it needs to be, plasticized silicone. There are two rugged filter inlets on each side, and it comes with two plugs for either plugging in the central inlet or both of these. Or you can have any combination. You can put three filters on this mask if you really wanted to. The central filter inlet is actually not for a filter. It is for a powered air purifying respirator blower unit or some sort of supplied air line. So this does not have an inlet valve when you uncover this plug. There is only a rubber gasket there. There is no inlet. The outlet valve is contained by this plate, and there is also a voice diaphragm throughout the back here, which I will probably show off better when we get to the inside view, but nothing too intricate there. Everything on this mask is removable, which is, like I said, one of my favorite qualities in a gas mask to have. It makes disassembly for cleaning and maintenance so much easier, and it is just, I just can't stress enough that having every part on a gas mask be removable is just the greatest feature you could have. You can see markings up here. You can see a tiny L for size large, 3M7800S. You can get a better view of the buckle system. Unfortunately, the buckles I'm not too big a fan of because these tabs, while they seem like a good idea, the buckles will sometimes get caught on these as you're pulling. So not a very good harness design. Although the harness being rubber is not too bad for a rubber head harness. It's not like a PMK harness where it will snag your hair. It can do that sometimes, but typically it won't. You can see more serial stamps and markings. You have a date roundel, which I have not been fully able to decipher. There's just an O in the center, and I'm believing that means year 2000, but a lot of the paperwork I have says that this was dated 1990, so I have no honest-to-God clue what year this mask is made in, or at least my example, that is. The lens frame is entirely plastic, and it seems like a pretty rugged plastic. I've seen plenty of sold examples on eBay that have this lens frame scratched to hell, like even to the point where it was starting to go through, and it's still holding up. So this is a very good quality plastic. The lens is polycarbonate, and there are no outserts or inserts for this mask as far as I know. So you'd have to probably tint the lens yourself if you wanted a tinted lens, but there is a optional welding outsert for this mask. Actually, there is one outsert. It's for welding. It's basically a giant matte black plastic frame that snaps onto the exterior of the lens, and then there is a square welding lens for, obviously, welding purposes. And as I've said before, there's also a different valve assembly for powered air purifying respirators and supplied air lines, and their supplied airline accessories, and all that good stuff that an industrial mask would typically be seen with for as an option for accommodations. Before I'm tripping over my words here, let's see, what else should I mention here? The only thing I have not been able to remove on this mask are the plastic filter inlets. I know it's possible, but I just can't seem to figure out a way to remove these things. I guess I don't really need to, but it's just kind of nice to know that you can, and so that's the one thing I haven't been able to do yet. The entire valve assembly is held on by a hose clamp. Well, not really a hose clamp. One of these things. I don't really know what these type of clamps are called. I probably forgot. I did forget, actually. But most industrial masks seem to have this, so that's pretty typical affair. Now I'll go ahead and take the mask off the harness and show you the inside before I trip over my words anymore here, because as per most of my current videos, I'm doing this completely unscripted and off the top of my head from memory of research on these masks. I'll go put the head aside here, and excuse me while this is off camera. That shouldn't take too long. So, here's the inside of the mask. And the interesting thing to note about the interior is that it is double folded. There is two interned face seal periphery seals thingies. The nose cup seems very cushy and comfortable, but I personally do not like the nose cup on this mask. It is a bit too short for me, and everything fits like a size medium with a size small nose cup on me, and I have not fully been able to get my chin into the chin cup to wear comfortably. It's just a very awkwardly wearing mask. I really want to love this mask, but its comfort is seriously hindering me. It may be mixed results for some of you guys, but for me, I just can't seem to fit this mask entirely comfortably. It's not the worst mask I've ever worn. They're much worse in my collection, in my opinion, but this one is, kind of within the realm of discomfort. There are optical inserts for this mask, and they are available commercially. There you can see the large, very relatively clear voice diaphragm down there. The outlet valve is really hidden down in the bottom of the chin cup, spreading apart the nasal cup here. You can see one of the inlet valves. There are no deflector plates, interestingly. It is just a bare valve, which I kind of think is a bad design in that aspect, but hey, if it works, it works. As long as you're not an idiot, nothing bad will happen. And that's pretty much the end of that. There wasn't really too much else to go over with this mask. Very simple, very modern design for its time, I guess, and one of my favorite designs for as an industrial mask, but in my opinion has a few flaws personally. But anyhow, that's the 3M7800S. I hope you learned a bit more about it, and I hope you got an idea of what it's like to own one of these, and I hope you enjoyed. So I'm Duke Nukem 3D, and I'll see you later.